Hey, hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fanny Rodriguez Melnikovsky, and I am the new state ombudsman. I've been in this role for about a year now in April. I'd like to welcome you to our first long-term care ombudsman virtual family council meeting. We are very excited to have you on this journey. A little about me. I have been in long-term care for over 20 years. 10 of those years, I was a nursing home administrator, and I also held other positions. I also worked in a hospital setting in operations and case management. I was a court-appointed special advocate, which is also known as a CASA volunteer, for about 1 year. I also served on the Lions Club as president, and I was a member of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Kiwanis, and Rotary Club. I love serving and helping people. It is my passion, so this role fit perfectly for me. Our state office operates under the Idaho Commission on Aging, which is also known as ICOA or ICOA. The Idaho Commission on Aging is a state agency that provides services for aging Idahoans. Some of the services include adult protective services, caregiver support, nutritional services such as home delivered meals and congregate meals, respite care, fraud and scam prevention, and of course, the Ombudsman Program. The Idaho Commission on Aging contracts these services to 6 area agencies on aging throughout the state of Idaho to carry out these services to Idahoans. I'm going to tell you a little bit about why we started this program, this family council program. Under federal law, family members in long-term care facilities can join together to form a united family council. This is a forum that is used to communicate any concerns to facility administrators to improve the quality of life and the quality of care for residents. Part of the Ombudsman Program is to provide education and resources to residents, families, staff and facilities, and the community at large. We decided to create a statewide virtual family council program to provide information, resources, and education related to long-term care facilities to empower residents, families, and our communities to advocate for better quality of care and better quality of life for residents in long-term care. Thank you again for your support today, and we hope you enjoy our presentation. Now I will hand it over to Sherry Young.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Sherry. My role is Family Council Coordinator and Volunteer Coordinator for the State of Idaho Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. We will be hosting these meetings on the third Wednesday of every month. We host these meetings to empower and educate families and residents on all aspects of long-term care. Please note, these meetings will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube. Just Google Idaho Virtual Family Council and you can locate them easily. We will start with our presentation and then open up the meeting to questions. All monthly meetings will use the same Zoom link and QR code, which makes it easy to find. Please join us on all of these meetings. The meetings will be great with a lot of important and meaningful information. Please let everyone that you know so that they can join and participate. Thank you again for attending today's meeting. Today, we're going to discuss what a long-term care ombudsman is, what we do, how we can help you, and how to contact us. But before we begin, let's go over a little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to go over the confidentiality reminder. Let me put that on the screen for you. Bear with me just a moment. Okay, please refrain from using your name or the name of your loved one. Do not name specific facilities. Please use the terms nursing home, assisted living, or personal care home to present to the group. If you do need specific assistance, please use the chat feature to state the county that you're in, and we will have an ombudsman reach out to you. The calls have public access and are designed for family members, as well as friends and families of members and residents in long-term care. Virtual meeting tips. You have all been placed in mute upon entry. We will open the lines in a bit so that all are able If you would like to speak or have a question, please use the raise hand feature. Once we have completed our presentation, we will open the meeting to questions. The chat feature is at the bottom of your screen as well. Once you maximize it, you will be able to ask questions to the chat moderator or others during the call. Please know that any concerns or complaints can be directed to the State Ombudsman Office, to Fanny Melnikovsky. Our presenter today, we're very excited to present Susan Brandel. Susan is a long-term care ombudsman in the Boise area. I will turn this over to her and let her introduce herself. Susan?
Sherry, appreciate the introduction. Welcome, everyone. I'm Susan Brandel, Long-Term Care Ombudsman for the AAA3. I am so honored to be the first presenter at this forum. We as Ombudsmen are eager to answer your questions and be part of this amazing community. A little about myself. I've lived in Boise for 19 years. I've been an Ombudsman for not quite 3 years and come with vast experience as a caregiver. My very first job out of high school was as a CNA in a skilled facility in Oregon. From that first job grew my passion for advocacy, and I have had a role with advocacy in some way most of my adult life. I've had a family member experience poor care in long-term care. Although I do this for a living, it was quite eye-opening to step out of my ombudsman role and experience from a family perspective. This gives me a unique view into both sides of what we do in this industry for every single resident we serve. Our goal is to start this monthly conversation in a meaningful way and encourage each of you to learn as much as you can through this monthly forum. It is our hope that you will return regularly and participate in continuing conversations. Our objectives for today are what are an ombudsman, resident involvement, scope and authority, investigation process, leadership and training, AAA contact information will be at the end, and then as Sherry mentioned, the Q&A session. As we go through this presentation, please feel free to read the slides as they come up. I will not be reading the slides verbatim, just kind of a heads up. So what is an ombudsman and how can we assist you? The need for advocacy in both assisted living and skilled nursing facilities arose from widespread abuse and neglect. The Older Americans Act was established in 1965 to protect seniors living in long-term care. The Older Americans Act gives us as ombudsmen the authority to go into facilities and investigate. The Idaho Commission on Aging is a nonprofit agency with the authority to hire and oversee the ombudsman within the state, as Fanny mentioned earlier. In addition to advocacy, the ombudsman also provide training to staff, communication, community education and outreach, and are a vital tool in changing laws regarding seniors. We will talk more about this later on. There is never a charge for a resident or a loved one to use the ombudsman services. So how can you get involved with an ombudsman? Anyone with a concern about a long-term care resident can call. If you have a concern about how you or your loved one is being treated in long-term care, you can call and discuss your concerns with an ombudsman assigned to your loved one's facility. There is an ombudsman poster with cards in each facility. If you are able to locate that poster, please ask a staff member and they will help you locate it. Ombudsmen also have local offices if you would rather walk in for an in-person visit. This is just a general, this is our scope and authority on nursing home law, and then our state Idaho assisted living law. So we work for you first and foremost. As a resident advocates, we work for you. So basically what we do is we contact the facility based on your consent. All information we gather is always confidential unless you give us authorization to share it. Even within the scope of that consent, you choose how we work toward a resolution. For example, if you asked us, an ombudsman, to contact a nurse about a medication mix-up, you can change your mind at any time and we will stop talking with the nurse. The opposite is also true. If at first you may be a little bit reluctant to allow us to speak with facility staff, you may later change your mind and allow us to step in on your behalf and work with the facility staff. So how do we address your concerns? Well, first, the complaint is received. A call, an email, or a visit with an ombudsman in person to get the process started. Your ombudsman will ask for consent to share pertinent information with relevant parties such as an administrator, a nurse, power of attorney, family and friends, etc., to facilitate proper resolution. When possible, we do like to meet you in person. This gives us the opportunity to have a more meaningful conversation and discussion of all your concerns. However, calls and emails are acceptable if it is the best option. For example, one of my facilities is 100 miles away from my office. In that case, I will take a complaint to get started and then schedule a time to come to your facility, no matter how far away you are. The initial contact by phone will give us a starting point. All complaints and concerns are important to us. You have the right to be concerned about your care and treatment. First, we like to empower you to advocate for yourself. So your ombudsman will ask you if you have what you have tried to resolve with your facility prior to reaching out to the ombudsman. This could be a conversation with the administrator or a formal grievance or complaint being submitted to the person in charge at your facility. Each facility must have a formal grievance process to address all grievances within 30 days. They must also inform you of how that grievance was addressed. Grievances can be filed anonymously. However, just know that you may not know the outcome of that grievance if filed anonymously, but the facility must still address it. Next, we're going to work together and identify which resident right was violated. If you are unsure, it's okay. We will ask a series of questions to gain a better understanding of the current situation and determine together which rights violation may have occurred. Next, we discuss together the options for the resolution with either you or your representative. So we work together with the facility leaders to achieve outcomes that you agree with. With consent, we may ask for documentation as necessary to achieve the desired outcome. Again, with my example of a medication mix-up, we may ask the nurse for medication logs, your NSA or your admission agreement, for example. We may ask for power of attorney information or guardianship information as examples of documentation that we may request. We also interview individuals as needed. For example, one of the tools that we like to use is a care conference with the appropriate staff at the facility representing your best interest, as well as everyone that you as a resident invites. You can invite your power of attorney, you can invite somebody that represents you for your support, as well as your ombudsman. If you invite your ombudsman, we will also be there to represent you in the resolution process. We also advocate for you having a voice in these meetings and a meaningful discussion with the team about how to facilitate, how to properly address your concerns, train staff to prevent future complaints, and ensure that you are satisfied with the outcome of the meeting. Sometimes these meetings don't always stay as positive as they should be. So one of the ombudsman role may be to act as a mediator to bring the meeting back to a positive note. We typically sit next to you to convey physical and moral support, as we do not represent the facility or the administrator. We are there to represent you as the resident or the resident's representative. We again do encourage you to speak on your behalf, as this meeting is about you, and the goal is to address your concerns. At the conclusion of this meeting, hopefully you feel better about how the concerns are or will be addressed by the facility. When appropriate, other community partners may be involved as well. For example, health and welfare, the Ralph team, they're called. Sometimes law enforcement gets involved, or other outside legal entities. These partners work together with the Ombudsman Program to achieve positive outcomes. And then after that, we make timely follow-ups. We'll call you, or we'll stop in if you have scheduled a meeting with us to see how things are going. Is the facility doing what they said they would do in this care conference to address your concerns? You keep the complaint with the ombudsman open until you are confident that you no longer need us, or that the complaint has been resolved to your satisfaction. We never close a complaint without you asking us to. At any time, though, throughout this process, please feel free to have the ability to say, I don't need you anymore. I think I've got this. Thank you for giving me the support and the encouragement. If I need you, I'll reach out to you again. There's never any judgment. We want to just be here for what you need us to be here for. You can also open it later if the issue arises again at some point in the future. Please call your ombudsman again and say, it's happening again. I need your help, and we will start the process again. There is no limit to the amount of assistance you can request from your ombudsman. So another important aspect is, if you have a guardian, please let us know when you first make contact, as they are the legal representative. It just helps us understand the whole picture. So when you call your ombudsman initially, just let one of us know at the beginning of the conversation. So let's talk about some other options. We always want you to be safe. Safety is always the first concern. So if you have a life-threatening, something life-threatening to your physical safety, or your physical safety is in immediate jeopardy, please call 911. This could be something like active abuse, or, other kind of danger that may arise. Your facility may not retaliate against you for calling 911. Adult Protection Services is available in each region of our state to address concerns that may not require law enforcement involvement. APS works independently from the Ombudsman Program, so we can still advocate for you without hindering the APS investigation process. Again, our role is to advocate for change, and ombudsmen often affect change within a facility, while outside agencies also perform their roles. APS must receive a complaint from somebody besides the resident. The complaint must accompany specific information about the resident's vulnerability or their inability to advocate for themselves. Again, reach out to your ombudsman and ask what this looks like. Idaho Health and Welfare, or like I mentioned earlier, the Ralph team as they're called, are the agency that is dedicated to the assisted living program, and the skilled nursing facilities also have a dedicated team through health and welfare that take complaints. When they receive a complaint, they perform an on-site investigation for every single complaint. These complaints are always anonymous. The facility will never know who generated the complaint or what the complaint was about. So don't worry about you or your loved one being retaliated against. So how do we advocate in the community? We can be invited to speak in front of the legislature on your behalf. As we see trends, we can speak as advocates on your behalf to affect change in laws and statutes to improve your lives while residing in long-term care. We also conduct staff trainings that focus on resident rights. We can attend resident council meetings with permission from any resident in the facility. Just call and reach out to your ombudsman and invite them to the next resident council meeting. This is a good opportunity for us as ombudsmen to listen to what the residents are concerned about and offer suggestions to help you feel more confident about living in resident or in long-term care. Ombudsmen also foster positive working relationships with health and welfare to improve your living conditions. We often are invited to speak at community events, attend elder abuse rallies, sit on committees, and represent long-term care in places like family justice centers. We have a cooperative relationship with Idaho Legal Aid. Ombudsman will provide referrals to Idaho Legal Aid on behalf of residents who ask. So please know that that's also something that we might do. And finally, here is a graphic of every region that Fanny mentioned. There are 6 regions, so find your county on this graphic. And then from there, the phone numbers are listed in the middle. That's a general phone number. And from there, you will be connected with your ombudsman for your facility. If you're unsure about this, please reach out to Fanny at her office and she will help she'll help you get more information on your specific ombudsman. Thank you so much for participating in our first virtual family council. I had so much fun explaining the Ombudsman Program. I hope each of you will return regularly to this forum to help us grow each month and discuss topics that are important to you. Back to you, Sherry.
Thank you, Susan, for a wonderful presentation. We're now into our Q&A session. We'd like to know what questions you have regarding Susan's presentation, maybe what concerns you're experiencing presently, and lastly, what topics you might like to see addressed in future meetings. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put those in the chat. I see we do have a question regarding discharges. Susan, would you like to address that?
Absolutely. Thank you, Sherry, for this great question. If you receive a discharge notice from your facility, first of all, don't panic. Call your ombudsman and we can help walk you through what your options are and help you understand the steps necessary based on the reason for the discharge.
Thank you, Susan. Maybe we could cover a few questions we've had in the past. I know we've had questions regarding food. Susan, do you have a moment to discuss dietary requirements?
Absolutely, another great question. And this is something that I see often when I go to my facilities and visit with residents. Anything from cold food or the facility isn't following your therapeutic diet. A common one is if you are a diabetic, please reach out to us and we can help you understand that you have the right to have a therapeutic diet or a religious diet based on your admission agreement, your care plan, and other factors. But food is probably one of, I would say, one topic that we all get to talk about when we go into our respective facilities. So it matters, like I said earlier, all concerns matter. So if you're having a struggle enjoying the flavor of the food, if the food is cold, if they're not listening to your preferences, those are all reasons to reach out and call us.
Another question that we hear is on level of care and timeliness of medication. Can you expand on that for me?
Yes, so each facility has requirements to bring you your medication in a timely manner. So they have to follow state law. And if you are not getting your medication in a timely manner, please let us know. That is definitely something that is very important that we want to help you address. Sometimes it's as simple as calling the facility and asking them, to discuss the error or something along those lines. So you do have a right to receive your medication in a timely manner. So we want to hear if that's not happening.
Okay, I'm going to give a few more minutes to leave this open for questions. I do want to remind everyone we will be uploading these to YouTube. So if you have any questions on what we talked about, you can review today's speech from Susan. You can also go back and review the contact information, and we will be hosting these monthly. Every webcast will be uploaded to YouTube for you to look at your leisure. Next month, we are going to talk about guardianship and POA. That seems to be a topic that we get a lot of questions on and a lot of concerns on what rights you have once you are under guardianship or what powers a POA has. It's going to be a very interesting discussion, one you're not going to want to miss. Susan, is there anything you'd like to expand on before I close our session today?
I would just like to say a big shout out to a couple of my facilities I see. Thanks for the support. I appreciate you logging on and listening. No, I just want to remind everyone that as ombudsmen, we are advocates. We want to hear, even if you think it's a little problem, we want to hear from you. We can just have a simple conversation. And if you're not sure, just call us and run it past us, and we can kind of have a conversation about what's going on in your world. We truly want to help you be happy and thrive no matter where you live. So thanks again. And if we don't have any other questions.
I don't see any questions in the chat. Just a reminder, I do need to make a correction. They are on the 4th Wednesday, not the 3rd Wednesday. The QR code, you can simply put your phone on camera mode and place it in front of the QR code. It will automatically take you over to the Zoom link. You can also go directly to the Zoom link. If you pan over that, you'll be able to click on it and go right to the Zoom link. We also have a Facebook page, the Idaho State Long-Term Care Family Council Connections Facebook. You can ask questions on there. You can see the information that we put in there. And once again, these will be uploaded to YouTube, so you can look at them at any time. And lastly, I just want to remind you that our state ombudsman is Fanny Rodriguez-Melnikovsky. She's always available for questions. I'll give it just a couple more minutes and then we're going to close out. And once again, I so appreciate everyone taking time out of their day. I hope that we've offered some helpful information. Fanny, would you like to close us out?
Thank you, Sherry, and thank you, Susan. And thank you to our guests for joining us today. We hope you found the information valuable, and we hope to see you at our next meeting in June. And it's going to be about guardianships and powers of attorney, as Sherry said. So it's a lot of great information that we get asked about a lot. So we look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you again.
Thank you. And see you next month.